Hi, Terry VanNoy. Welcome to Math Class with Terry V. Hope this video helps you out, and if you enjoy it, please share it, comment, or like it. And you can also go to my website, MathPowerLine.com. It's a math resource blog, lesson videos for students, and other resources for parents and teachers. Give me a call or go to my website or email. All right, let's go to today's lesson. Simplifying rational expressions. And as you can see on my list here, problem set 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, this is problem set 4, have all dealt with how you factor apart a algebra fraction or a rational expression, and we cancel out common factors and then we simplify it. So I have 4 problems for you to try. Let's take a look. All right, now these are a little more complicated here. This video here is, as I said, problem set 4, and the one after this will be a self-quiz. So you're going to be able to kind of test yourself to see if you can understand this. So it's a 4-step process. Again, it's factoring, it's canceling out common factors, and then we put it all together again and simplify it, and then we double check we have not made a mistake. All right, on the top, always look for a GCF first, greatest common factor, and there isn't one. So it's going to be a binomial, typical trinomial factorization here. And we are going to look at the factors of 50 that can subtract to give us a 5. And I'm thinking a 10 and a 5, right? That should work. And of course, we know an x and an x will be here. And now we just have to get the signs correct. Well, the negative 50 means that we have unlike signs. And the 10 has to be the bigger amount, okay? Because we want to get a negative 10x and a positive 5x when we go through our FOIL multiplication. So we know that we have the correct middle term there. X minus 10, x plus 5. All right, now notice here that we are going to take, just take a little time out here. We're going to factor out a 3 and an x. Okay, notice how an x is in every term here and a 3 factor there. So let's go ahead and take our time to factor out the 3x from each part, which will leave me x squared plus 7x plus 10. All right, so that should give me, we have a 3x on the outside, and then we have an x in each part of the binomial here. And we want factors of 10 that add to give us 7, and that of course would be a 5 and a 2. And make sure both of those are positive. And in whether mentally or maybe on a piece of paper, you use the FOIL method and multiply that out to check. Make sure that's correct. So notice how this binomial, x plus 5, can cancel with that binomial. All right, now we're going to put it all together and have our answer. Okay, I'm going to have you hit pause on the video now. You try the rest by yourself, and let's check in a few seconds. All right, each video in this series has gotten progressively harder. We've already done this one on the previous screen. So let's look at 14. How did we get this answer? Well, we are going to go ahead and factor that out. And again, 60 has some factors here that are going to add to be negative 16x middle term. Well, we know these are going to be x's here. And I'm going to choose a 6 and a 10. All right? And those are both going to be negatives there, or subtraction, because we're going to have a negative 16x middle term there. All right, now the very first thing, always look for that GCF, greatest common factor. Okay, and I noticed that a 3 and an x can go into each part. So I'm going to do it off to the side here. And let's see, that'll give me an x squared minus 3x minus 70. All right, it looks like a 7 and a 10 there. So how about a 3x? I know I need an x and an x right there, and then we look at the factors of 70. That's got to be a 10 and a 7. Now let's double check the middle term here. These two multiply to give me negative 10x. These outside terms give me a positive 7x. Put them together to get the negative 3x middle term right there. Alright, now you can see obviously this binomial cancels out with that binomial, and it leaves me with the rest that we just put back together again. Go ahead and leave this as a binomial in parentheses, and that is going to be your acceptable answer. Alright, 15 and 16, hopefully you've already tried these. You're going to go ahead and find a GCF factor, which is a 6 on the top and a 42 on the bottom. So what does that leave inside our parentheses groups here? Well, 3k squared plus 4k minus 7. And on the bottom, it would be k squared minus 1. All right, well, we got to still keep going here. The 6 and the 42, I know I can factor out a common factor of 6 on each of those, but I'll do that in the next step. Let's go ahead and see if we can factor out this trinomial on the top. Well, 3k squared is going to be a 3k in one place and a single k, or a 1k, in the other place. I know that I need a plus minus here because of the negative 7, and I'm just going to guess that the plus goes here and the minus goes here, and we'll adjust if we have a mistake here. Well, a 7 can only be a 1 times a 7, and I'm going to put the 7 there and the 1 here. It's actually a negative 1. Now let's check that. 7 times k is 7k, positive 7k, and 3k times negative 1 is negative 3k. And if I put those together, yep, that gives me my positive 4k middle term. Alright, so we just have to kind of take a little time out and figure that out. Now on the bottom, something kind of interesting, and I have a part of my video series here on factoring, is those are a difference of perfect squares. So it turns out to be a k plus 1 and a k minus 1. Hopefully you'll see that pattern there. Alright, well, let's do some canceling here. That k minus 1 binomial, that k minus 1 binomial, I can divide a 6 factor out of each of those, which leaves a 1 on the top and a 7 on the bottom. Now I put it all back together again. There's my final answer. Notice I don't really need parentheses on the binomial on the top. Alright, number 16. Again, let's factor out a 6 here is a common, greatest common factor of 6 on the top. And it looks like a 10 can be factored out on the bottom. And if we factor out a 6 on the top trinomial there, that'll leave n squared plus 3n minus 4. On the bottom, that will leave me with n plus 4. All right. Well, let's factor this trinomial. And we know an n has to be in both places there to give me my n squared first term. The negative 4 could be a 1 times a 4 or a 2 times a 2. And it's a negative, so we actually know they have to be different signs. There's going to be a plus in one place and a minus in another. And if we need a 4 and a 1, let's do positive 4 and negative 1. So those two multiplied together would give me a positive 4n. These outsides multiplied together would give me n, it would be a negative 1n. And if I combine those together, it's actually a subtraction problem. It gives me 3n. So it's factored like that for the numerator, and then when I carry it down for the denominator, I notice I have a common binomial of n plus 4. Those can be canceled out for sure. And I can factor out a 2 out of each of those, leaving me with a 3 on the top and a 5 on the bottom. Now hopefully, although it's a little messy, you can see how putting it all back together again to simplify it should give me this answer right here. Alright, that's problem set 4, and thanks for watching. This is the final video in the series before we get to the self-quiz. So, search for how to simplify rational expressions, self-quiz, and that'll be finishing up this video series. Thanks for watching. Alright, there you have it. I invite you to go to my website now, MathPowerLine.com, or email me or give me a call. The way I work best with students is live, online in my classroom. So if I can help you in any way, answer some specific questions, the first lesson with me is free as I show you how everything works. Alright, study hard and take care.